Time now is 8:40 a.m. on October 1st, 2025. We've made it to October. Woo! You guys slept from 4:30 a.m. God damn, I slept from 4:30 to 8:30. And yeah, 4 hours. We're back in that sleep deprivation thing again. Hell yes. Um, there's just so much, and I think looking back, the fact that I was able to finish 3 episodes of anime and filming and editing a big video on top of a big hangout is quite impressive. But I legit need to sleep earlier. I say that every day. My goal for tonight is 3 a.m. If that's not too much to ask for. Yeah. But too much is happening, man. Too fucking much is happening. There's a midterms tomorrow, and goddamn. So today it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna have CTCS 464, which is Asian horror. Audrey's gonna be there. And then I need to come home and have therapy. And then I have lunch, and then I go out again for the David Lynch class. And then after the David Lynch class, there's a meeting with Ethan Kwan, and then immediately after is a meeting with Jacob. So that's that. I couldn't finish Flowers of Evil last night. I left the last episode because I thought, might as well. Why even bother? So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have a lot else to add. Just yeah, I feel like it's been a whole month since I've started like working out more and stuff, but I didn't have a lot of growth. I think it's because I just don't have a lot of sleep. So there's that. Yeah, gotta fix that. Um, yeah, my hair is just fucking insane. Don't know what's going on with my hair. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's all. Okay, time now is 2:27 a.m. in the morning. Yes, it is late, and yes, I'm tired, and let's talk about today. So, again, today is technically, it feels like the first day of the week, and, yeah, woke up after 4 hours, and I thought 4 hours is fine. I don't know why 4 hours is like the new norm for me, so I thought it would be okay, but no, I was pretty sleep deprived throughout the entire day. Um, and, I woke up and my original idea was to film One Battle After Another movie review right after waking up, but because I had to charge my other phone and also I was just tired and I'm on a time crunch, so I ended up doing nothing. I ended up eating a donut and then I left. I went to my Asian horror class and I got in, I sit down. Audrey shows up. Audrey sits right next to me and didn't really have too much of a chance to talk to her because we had one short break, and Andrew did not show up today at all. But yeah, just talked to Audrey a little bit. I saw Audrey talking to the RIT 340 professor outside of Norris Theater, and I wanted to say hi, but I also don't want to be late for class. But I should have just said hi. But yeah. But yeah, apparently she slept for 3.5 hours today. This is crazy. I don't know, like, how are we all, like, dying? But we are all dying. Um, but, yeah. Um, watched a film. I zoned out a little bit in the first half. And then the class ends, and Audrey had to immediately leave because she has RIT 340 after that. So I just walked back. I took a bus. I took the first bus back home, and So now I moved filming the movie review of One Battle After Another in the afternoon. And may I remind you, I don't have a lot of time. I have maybe about 3.5 hours. Yeah, I have maybe about 3 hours, a bit more than 3 hours to do all of this. I need to film a movie review, and then I have a therapy session over Zoom from 3 to 4 p.m. And then immediately afterwards, I need to cook myself lunch, and a big lunch. I realized that in the last few days, I begin to develop this habit of a dinner, which is a combination of lunch and dinner. Like, I have a big meal around 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and I call it a dinner. Instead of a brunch, this is a dinner, or a dunch. Dinner sounds better. Um, a lyncher. Oh, damn. A lynch is cool, but a lyncher. But yeah, a dinner. And I had like carne asada, I had butter, pan-fried potatoes, and some broccoli, and I finished eating it, cleaned up, and it's only been like a little more than an hour, the whole process. And then I immediately went out, and I was gonna walk to school, but I was right on time for the bus, and I caught a bus, and I went to school, and I was right on time for the David Lynch class. I was quite impressed that I was able to do so much within 3 hours. But yeah, therapy was interesting. I guess today it was over Zoom, and I prefer in-person therapy. I think it's more personal. But it was over Zoom today, and I don't really have a lot to say because only like 5 days had passed since we last met, and not much had really happened. So I mentioned how one of the PA swings called me a frat boy on Saturday, and how that made me feel. But that kind of opened the floodgates for me to talk about my social anxieties in general, how I think I'm a quiet and awkward guy, because when that guy called me a frat boy, I was pretty sure he's making fun of me for being quiet and awkward. And again, very interesting, because the therapist, she was like, um, what do you mean by awkward? And I'm like, I don't know, feeling uncomfortable, saying the wrong things and doing the wrong things at the wrong time. And she's like, well, that's a subjective thing. Like, you're only saying awkward. It's not a fact, it's just that you're uncomfortable. And the thing is, you're affirming your self story. Like, you know, you immediately route your brain to a self story. So when someone insults you, or when someone says something like this, oh, you look like a frat boy, you immediately associate that with, oh, I'm quiet and nerdy and awkward, when in fact it could be totally something else. Maybe that guy's just tripping on mushrooms. That's what the therapist said. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. And I do these things a lot, like generalize, and there's so many moments in the last fucking decade where a person would ignore me, say something mean to me, and I would immediately jump to the conclusion that it's because it's my fault. Like, I said something wrong, or I said something stupid, and, because I'm lame. But that's not necessarily, oh my god, my hair. But that's not necessarily true, because sometimes it could be just them having a bad day. Also, throughout the last few years, and I noticed this especially in the last semester, why am I having so much acne? I noticed this too last semester, is where people can suddenly be really nice to me, and the same people can be suddenly very distant to me. And it makes me feel very confused, because when they're very nice to me, I'm just like, holy shit, they want to know more about me, they want to get me. And then when they're suddenly distant, I'm like, wait, I pissed them off? Did I say something wrong? And I just keep swinging back and forth, and it's very frustrating to the point where I just kind of give up. But the truth is, it's only confusing because I'm making it confusing for myself. whenever they are more distant from me, I immediately think, oh, it's because it's my fault because I said something wrong. But there are like a bajillion other factors. And yes, I know that it's not like I just learned about this today, but my mind always jumped to the conclusion that it's my fault because I think I've experienced so much, a little bullying in the past, and also with Leslie and then Jayun. I think I just lost a lot of trust in people, and I always put the blame on myself. And the therapist was like, that's strange because I think you're a sweet person. I think you're really nice and you're interesting and you're fun to talk to. And I attended a couple of boba meetups organized by this exact same therapist. And she said she remembers me. And because I always socialize, and so she thought, wow, you're actually memorable and you seem very social. You seem really brave. And so I'm like surprised to hear that you're struggling socially. And she told me I'm memorable. And she asked me if that's surprising to hear. And I'm like, yes, that is a surprise to hear. I don't think anyone has ever told me that I'm memorable. If Jayun tells me I'm memorable, that's a huge fucking deal. And I realized that no one has ever said that to me. No one has ever said, you're memorable. I remember you. I feel honored. Like, even some random person saying, I remember you. It's just like, oh my God. I didn't know I can make an impact on someone else. And again, I think that goes back to like self-respect. Like I always put myself in such a low position that I always assume that I'm just a meaningless piece of dust. So I think it's pretty helpful that my therapist is making me think the opposite way. And eventually I realized, because a lot of my, I guess, mental stresses right now is due to Jayun. So I eventually just talked about Jayun. I talked about how I met this girl, and we talked a lot, and then she just disappeared. And then she asked me, did you develop strong feelings for her? And I'm like, not yet, until around May, when she asked for my help for her film shoot, and then we talked again, but then now she disappeared. And the therapist was very sympathetic. She was like, wow, that must be really hurtful. That must be really disappointing. And honestly, it is hurtful and disappointing, but I'm just used to it. Like, I don't feel that bad anymore because Leslie happened, and I was even more hurt by Leslie. So, yeah. But anyways, Lynch class, Garrett wasn't there until the screening started, and I didn't see a lot of other people. A lot of people were just gone, and fewer people show up to the Lynch class, sadly. But yeah, I sat through the whole class. I thought I would leave early, but I was so, I guess, I was so amazed by Twin Peaks Season 2, Episode 7 that I stayed all the way. So we watched the pilot episode, which I fell asleep a lot. I tried so hard to stay awake, but I just kept falling asleep. And then we had a Q&A with Dwayne Dunham again, and then a break, and then we watched the other episode. And I was fully awake for the other episode. But, yeah, and then afterwards, I wanted to get boba. Mainly because I realized I probably don't have enough calories, but I had a lot of garlic, and I just want to drink something to sort of bring that garlic flavor away. So I went to Pot of Cha, and while lifting to Pot of Cha, I went into a Zoom meeting on my phone and talked to Ethan Kwan and Harley Chen and another Chinese American girl, Laura Zhang, or maybe she's just Chinese, I don't know. And it's basically the PD meeting for Ethan's 310, which is shooting next weekend. And holy shit, we're in dire straits. So the Brutalist restaurant thing is scrapped. No more Brutalist restaurant, which is great, thank God, because that is a 480. That's an MFA level build. And we have 1 week. And now the new plan is just like a Wong Kar-wai apartment. Like the type of shit you see in Chungking Express and Fallen Angels. And Ethan even told me, Enoch, you've shot things that look like Wong Kar-wai. That's why we need you. And I'm like, well, I didn't even need to try, because most of the short films I shot are in Hong Kong, so of course they naturally just look like that. I don't know, like, um, so yeah, Ethan's original idea was we're gonna build the freaking apartment in a warehouse, and I just thought it's midterms week and it's only 1 week away and it's basically impossible. We're not bringing a bunch of flats to a warehouse, and I even at some point suggested Starman flats, but I realize it's gonna be a pain to build all that stuff in a freaking warehouse. So the easier and probably the more realistic option is to just find someone's apartment and dress it, you know. But even so, to get all the props in 1 week is super tough, and yeah. So we'll see. Um, and then I had the meeting continuously while I went to Justin T and Jacob's apartment, and then I arrived there, and then I spent maybe an hour and a half there just like chatting. We were supposed to study together because tomorrow's the midterms for the motion picture script analysis, which honestly I'm not that worried about because I paid attention 100% during class. And I wrote the notes with my own hand. So I actually remember the words, and somehow I know way more than Jacob on what's going on. So I'm honestly not that worried about tomorrow's midterms. I'm honestly feeling kind of okay about it. But that's pretty much it. And then Jacob and Justin T want boba at like midnight. So we walked to Spud Nuts. I've never even been inside because Spud Nuts had boba, even though they're mediocre. And then turns out there's like a bunch of bunch of white boys and white girls in Spud Nuts, and they were discouraged. So they left. I called a lift, went back home, and then I had a stomachache. And so that threw a wrench in my plan. I didn't have a lot of time left. So I couldn't even make dinner until 1:15 a.m. in the morning. So I literally just had dinner, and it's just rice with some frozen beef and onion, and it's kind of mid, but that's all. That's it. And honestly, I'm hopeful that I'm gonna be able to fall asleep, go to bed at 3:30. I'm honestly low-key hopeful that that might actually happen. But I cannot deny that I am filled to the brim with stuff to do because it's midterms week, because I'm working on 3 projects at the same time, 2 310s and 1 480. And also Ethan's 310 turns out he's going to shoot on Friday, which means originally next Thursday and Friday I'm going to dedicate it to Anna Iwasawa's 508. Turns out I can't even go on Friday, so that really sucked. And also on Friday, I need to leave early because I want to watch Min's film. So anyways, it's a clusterfuck, but hopefully things will be sorted. And that's pretty much it. No news from Jairn. I've realized I haven't really spoken to Jairn for like 3-4 days or something. And I think 3 days, and I don't know. The more I think about Jairn, the more I just think we're just not meant to be. I think right off the get-go, like back in January, February, it's already like the deal is sealed, So yeah. That's it. That's all. Okay, yeah, so sounds like my roommate's playing with ice downstairs. So, time now is 10:15 a.m. in the morning. Oh my god, what the hell is happening? It's 10:15 a.m. and, oh my god. On October 2nd, I slept from 4:15 to... I slept from 4 to 10. And then I went back to sleep for a little more. But the fucky thing is that I didn't immediately fall asleep at all, and I have no idea why. I think it's the boba, but the thing is, I thought the boba had no tea. I bought just like milk with boba. They fucked with me. They screwed me over. So I don't know if I had consumed tea or not last night. Maybe I've consumed a little bit of tea. But for like at least half an hour, I couldn't fall asleep. And then I eventually did, but I would like wake up periodically. So 6 hours is great, but it wasn't a great sleep at all. I was waking up once in a while. But yeah, today should be pretty fun and interesting. I mean, there's midterms, and then I'm just gonna head out. I'm just gonna go to Aero Theater to watch Resurrection, and I am super duper excited for that. I am still struggling in terms of there being too many things to do. So yeah, especially PD for Starman and Ethan stuff. I need to begin working on that shit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna probably film a movie review or like an anime review later. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't believe this weekend of Starman is the last weekend. I can believe it, actually. I can. I just need to talk to Jayun. Or I want to. I don't need to, but I want to. You know, it's, yeah. I still want to talk to Jayun, charm her, but we never really get the time to do it, you know. Today's a Thursday, yeah. Oh yeah, Jayun wants to hang out with me tonight. Or like, originally Jayun was like, I'm free. And I said I have the PD class. Well, that's not entirely true because I have Resurrection, right? So yeah. I don't really know. Not too sure. Still sleepy. Yeah, and I guess that's pretty much it. I don't know anymore. I just, I think after the therapist session yesterday, it really makes me think I should just be myself and be whoever I am and just not care. Yeah. 應該係，唔係個 general line 喎。Whoa, Begon fans are crazy. Begon fans are crazy, bro. Whoa. 哦，它是其中一个。
Interesting. 他就是老来我家看，今天老来我家看电影。
Resurrection.
那是你说是外的。
What the hell? 我坐前啲啊。Yeah, I want to sit in front. I want to be near Begon.
Welcome to Beyond Fest. How's everybody doing tonight? Awesome. Say hello to Anna. Anna, what do you have for us tonight?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the North American premiere of Resurrection.
All of us here in May at the Cannes Film Festival, and you're the first people in North America to see it. So I want to give a big thanks to
I watched it.
Janus Films. And of course, Resurrection. Let's welcome director Forgone. So, before Anna and I get off the stage, we have a very serious tradition here at Beyond Fest. And we only reserve this, very special tradition for our favorite filmmakers. So we are hoping you will do the honors of launching our ceremonial T-shirt to begin things. So we have a T-shirt cannon for you. Let me set it up. Anna, can you show us what the shirt is?
If you haven't been to a screening yet, take a look at this. Keep your eye on the donut, not the hole.
That is our tribute to the great David Lynch. So you don't want to shoot it up, nor too low. You want to go straight out. So aim it. All right. So straight out, straight out. So don't stand it up there. There we go. That's good. So you want to aim for those people out there. All right, we're going to help you get rid of the rest of these shirts so we'll get out of your way. So.
Oh shit.
I'm very happy to travel so far to play the film for you guys.
大家看电影我就去睡觉。
Yeah, I'm still very bad jet lag, so enjoy the film and go take a nap.
我们1个世纪以后见。
Yeah, I will see you after Central. Yeah.
I am so struck by the very last image in this movie of the theater melting. And I guess I was curious, in the process of making this film, writing this film, where did that image come from? When did you know it was going to be the last image of this film?
"这个画面的灵感来自于坐在下面的各位，因为在电影的
Yeah.
To go back to the very beginning, my understanding is that after Long's Day's Journey into Night, you started working on a different script, something about a murderer, and then the pandemic happened, and you put that aside to work on this. I guess what made you change your mind? You didn't want to do that film and pursue the one that we have now.
"就是觉得好像在做的那个凶手杀人的那个故事好像不太符合整个世界的状态，所以我觉得应该把故事的方向调整一下，调整成一个与我不太有关系，但是与这个电影的历史与喜欢电影的人有关系。因为在我心里觉得电影的语言就是这个世界的语言，所以一部关于电影的电影应该是关于这个世界的电影。
So he said that after the pandemic, he said the story about the murder, he doesn't think that it fits to what's going on in the world anymore. So he wants to change the story into a story that doesn't really it's not really personal, but it's about the movie, it's about, the world. He thinks that a movie that is a universal language, that it's, can cause, I think there's a word he keeps telling me, it's like synesthesia, like universal. Yeah, so that's why.
Because I think for a lot of us during the pandemic and since the pandemic have worried about sort of the future of movies and the future of going to theaters to see movies. Your movie to me feels like such an experience that has to be experienced in a theater. And I guess I wonder if that was part of it for you, is just wondering about cinema's future during the pandemic when everything was shut down.
He thinks that he doesn't have the ability to worry about it.
然后我觉得整个是一种 做电影的一种本能。
It's like a natural thing came to him as a filmmaker.
因为就电影它，当然我们现在观看电影的方式非常多，我们拿着手机，我身边很多朋友、家人都这么去观看视频，其实它没有什么不好，它很方便。
But there's a lot of ways to watch movies now that a lot of my family has been watching movies through cell phones. It's actually not anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
但是就像今天这样，所有的人坐在这，然后大家在一个共同的记忆里面去观看一部电影的这种纯粹的关于电影的美，是其他观看的方式带不来的。
Yeah, but just like today, you guys sitting here share the memory of watching this film together. This is such a beauty that nothing else will bring to, like the viewing experience, nothing else will bring.
所以我对电影的态度是一会儿这样一会儿那样，只要电影院坐满了人，我就觉得不会有问题。只要大家一走空，就觉得哎，好像要完蛋了。
Yeah, so he's not quite sure about the future of the cinema. Sometimes he thinks that, oh, there are still people watching the film, so he's like quite happy about that. But then when people are leaving and then the theater becomes empty, he's like, oh, maybe that's the end of the cinema.
因为在我心里面，看电影不只是看电影这件事情，还有关于梦想、关于自由、关于艺术、关于所有的事情。
Yeah, so because film for him is not just a film, it's about dreams, it's about like liberty, it's about all the other stuff that comes with it. Yeah.
And obviously dreams are so important in this film, the sort of central idea of a society that has stopped dreaming so they can live longer. Was that, because so many images in this film, your previous films, they feel like they come from dreams. Do story ideas come to you in dreams? Ideas, things like that? Or is it just, do they come to you in different ways? 很少做过。
Barely dream.
因为工作的时候基本上没有时间睡觉。
Doesn't really have time to sleep while working.
而且不是我的摄影指导、美术指导，他们也没有时间睡觉。
All the people working for him, they don't have time to sleep.
所以我们在片场那种感觉是很奇怪的，好像在片场大家就一直在那儿有一种做梦的感觉。我觉得有可能就来自于长时间没有睡觉造成的。
So he said actually on his set, like it kind of feels weird because everybody is so sleepy that it kind of bring a dreamy vibe to it. It's a bit overworked.
Has that always, even starting with your first film, has that something you've noticed about your crews that you work them in this way where it almost kind of creates this sort of like dream-like vibe when you all are working together?
Oh, the first film is like even worse.
因为接下来第二部、第三部，大家知道，好像我们在寻找做梦的感觉。第一部大家连这种感觉都不知道，就浑浑噩噩。
Oh, because at least the second and third one, people already know that they're expecting to looking for the vibe. But the first one, like nobody thought of this, so everybody was just like drifting on the set, in and out of the dreams.
For people who are seeing this video for the first time, they might not pick up on the idea that not only is the movie in different sections, obviously, and in different genres, but they're also focusing on different senses, touch, smell, sound. Was that something early on in the process that you knew you wanted to do, not just the time period across the 20th century, but also focusing on the different senses for each of the stories?
对，因为人的 感官其实是非常清晰的界限。就实际上我们接受外界带来的信息，感觉视觉能占到60-70%。
So he said like there's a very like the sense comes to you like differently, and then we use our visual like 60-70%.
我想这也是为什么手机上那么多好看的在吸引着各位。
That's why you always focus on your phones.
因为实在是太多的信息需要视觉去接受。
There's a lot of information that you have to process through like your eyes.
然后从一开始我们就想说把这个电影分成6个部分。
So at the beginning, like we wanted to separate the film into 6 segments from the very beginning.
然后希望观众在最后的关于意识那个部分，电影在大家心中重新又复活过来。
So I hope that at the end, like the film come to life in audience consciousness.
Another thing I wanted to ask is just, for U.S. productions, they shoot for 3-4 weeks or whatever, and then they go on to post-production. But you do a thing, you have these what you call production cycles, where you shoot for a while, and then you take a break, and then you shoot some more, and then you take a break. And it seems like, my understanding is correctly, that's the way that you shot all 3 of your films. It seems like a great way, in the midst of a shoot, to sort of see what you're liking, what you want to change. I guess I want to talk about the process for this film, in terms of what did those breaks during the shooting provide you?
大家不说话的时候别学我。
He said there's nothing good about that way.
因为时间很长，然后很耽误大家的工作，但是没有办法，因为电影没有拍好，然后因为各种客观的原因，所以我们必须，所以其实不是我的工作方式导致的，是电影没有到我们心中很一样子，就会一直拍下去。
Well, he said that he didn't intentionally do that, but sometimes because of all kinds of reasons, he has to stop, but the film is not as good as he expected, so they have to come back and then redo it again. But it's like costs a lot of time.
然后每次我都说4个星期把这个电影拍完，但是说了算。
Every time he said like he planned to finish the film in 4 weeks, but like never happened.
所以跟我工作的主创老师们会特别有默契，他们会悄悄地背着我。我说比如说这个故事要拍20天，然后他们自己会说3个月。
So all the people he worked with him, they would know like when he said that the film would be done in 20 days, and they will assume that he meant for 3 months.
Because this is your 3rd film, and like you said, you're used to this, that this is part of your process. Does it, I guess when you realize that there's things that aren't working in the film, you have to go back and reshoot, is that discouraging to you, or do you just know that's part of your process now, that you're going to refine and go back and reshoot things? So I imagine on your first film, it might have been more distressing, but maybe now you're just used to it and you know that that's your process.
Oh, he said he couldn't like feel it at that moment.
当时会觉得，当时没有考虑这件事情。
He said he wasn't even thinking about like that, the question you were asking at the start, like at the moment.
然后我们主创们都在说，我们到底是每个节假日才能回家，然后他们一直往后推到了第2年。
Yeah, so everybody is wondering when they can take a leave to go home, and then they can push in their expected date to the year following.
In terms of advantage of making a film like this, one of the great pleasures, is getting to work in a bunch of different genres, in a bunch of different time periods. You have talked in the past about the fact that you don't see this film as an anthology, you don't see it as a collection of short films. There is a thematic through line through, which I agree with. I guess I'm curious in terms of the writing process. Did that take a while to sort of figure out what the emotional through line was for all of the different chapters in this film?
先把它当成一个短片合集。
Oh, he said he treated it as a collection of shorts.
因为人的感官，因为人的感官确实是又综合又独立的。
He said because all the senses are like kind of like all together but so separate.
然后我们试着一开始把视觉这个部分交给一个，我们希望第一个故事的角色像一个婴儿一样，所以会把它处理成现在的这个样子。这个样子通过造型指导的工作，我们其实参考的是就是婴儿在低超的很混沌的那种样子，所以试图按照这样一个生命的发展过程，然后当这个生命走到第二步的时候，我们就开始混乱，我们有拿到这个答案。
So yeah, so at the beginning they were actually planning to make the chapter 1 as like a newborn stage. So they actually the production designer made it look like the baby in the ultrasound. That's what they were going for. But then when they were filming on the second chapters, it got messed up, so they couldn't follow the original idea anymore.
所以它是几个短的片段合在一起这件事情，确实在我们拍电影过程当中一度困扰着我。
So he's always troubled that it's kind of like a collection of shorts, like the idea of like it's a collection of shorts is a problem. So like in production.
后来我跟摄影指导、美术指导发现有可能不是这个形式，因为这个形式应该没有什么问题，有问题的是这个结局。当结局变成今天这个样子的时候，发现一切都被捏在一起了。
So they were discussing and then they realized that the problem should not be the format of the film, it's the ending of the film. So then they changed the ending to the ending that you see today, and it seems that solves all the problems that made the film together.
然后我也幻想过这个电影另外一种播放的方式，就是5个故事同时播。
Also, they also thought that it might be interesting if you play 5 films at the same time.
In Kylie Wu's and Long Day's Journey Tonight, you have these incredible long take sequences, and you have another incredible one in this film. Was there any part of you that worried about doing it again because you had done it so well the first 2 times, or were you just excited to try it in a different environment for this film?
我记得我和摄影指导董劲松老师，我们见面第一面就说这次千万别开长镜头。
So the first thing I said to my DP is no long take this time.
然后在这个电影的拍摄过程当中，我们其实这个长镜头我们本来是把它分成3段。
So in my original plan, we actually cut that scene into 3 segments, like shooting segments.
但我老觉得这样好像总有哪不太对，直到有一天我发现董老师的眼神也不太对，他可能跟我有一样的感觉。
But he always felt wrong, and then he sensed that the DP is like also felt something is wrong with it.
所以我们就决定再做一次。
Yeah, so then they decided maybe let's try long take one more time.
然后难题就来了。
Then the hard part came.
因为在凯利布鲁斯的时候，其实那颗镜头持续不断，然后过去与未来交融在里面。
Also in Cali Blue, I think the camera goes through the past and the future. Yeah.
然后到了地球以后，长镜头变成一种回望过去的方式。
So in the long day's journey into the night, the long take is kind of a way for us to look back into the past.
所以地球里面的那个长镜头是从高处不断的往低处去游走的。
Yeah, that's why the shots in the long day's journey is from the high end to the low end.
然后我和摄影指导还有美术指导，我们3个人一度不知道怎么完成这个工作，所以我们又停了下来。
So they weren't sure how to do the long take in this one, so they had to stop for a while.
然后我记得改变这件事情是董老师来办公室找我，他说反正也不知道怎么弄，虽然故事也有剧本也有，但就不知道怎么拍，反正也不知道，那我们看看别的。
Yeah, so the DP one day came to his office in that now that we don't really know how to do it, maybe let's figure something out.
然后他就给我看了一个画家叫罗斯科。
So he showed him a painting called Roscoe's painting.
然后我一下子灵感就特别来了。
And that inspired him.
因为这个故事是关于吸血鬼的。
Because this story is about the vampire.
所以有种直觉是这一个长镜头，它的开场应该是一个吸血鬼的视角。
So he thought about start the long take from the point of view of the vampire.
其实长镜头就是不断的去组合那些场面调度这件事情，它没有什么，对我来说它没有什么乐趣。
So he said how to make the long take, technically, is not interested to him anymore.
对，因为它不是体育比赛。
Because it's not a sport.
它一定要有它的艺术价值，我们才会去做它。
It has to be meaningful visually and artistically. That's the only reason I do it.
所以我们似乎找到了它的价值，就是如何把一个夜晚跨越一个世纪的一个夜晚压缩在里面。
So I think I found a way to compress the night that reflects the entire century into that long shot.
然后用不同的视角压缩在一个镜头里面，才会出现今天大家看到的这个样子。而它的结局又是一个青春片。
Yeah, and then I compress different point of view into this same shot, and then it becomes the shot that you see today, and it's also a story about youth, about love. Yeah.
然后在拍摄这段的时候，我幻想过观众痛哭流涕看到这个。
So I actually, when I was filming it, I was imagining audience crying so hard.
因为在我心里面，它无比的纯洁。
Yeah, because it's just such a pure thing for me.
I'd love to get some audience questions if there are any. Yes, right.
Thanks so much. I really think your film is a masterpiece. I wanted to ask about the 5 different segments and how they're maybe supposed to map onto the century. So the first one is obviously in conversation with silent film and German expressionism. And the last one is clearly sort of a reflection of your own style partially and a sort of modern style today. What are the middle 3 segments? What cinematic styles are they in conversation with?
我们尽量遵从着电影一个发展的脉络，从末天开始，因为主角也是一个电影的怪物。
So I try to follow the history of cinema because the main character is actually a movie monster also.
然后到了第2个黑色电影。
So and then second one is it's a film noir.
然后第3个故事，我们选择了一种不知道怎么翻译，志怪电影。
Yeah, so the third one's actually a very unique genre in Asia, like a Chinese and Japanese film. It's kind of like fantasy folk story.
中国民间很多这样的故事。
Yeah, there's a lot of folk story in Chinese, like
通常是吓小孩那种。
yes, normally like you used to scare the kids.
到了第4个故事，我们用了一个情节剧，就它变成了一个剧情片。
Oh yeah, starting the fourth it becomes the narrative, just a regular narrative film.
然后到第5个，我们终于觉得又回到我们手里了，
Oh.
就回到我们主创的手里。
Oh, so on the fifth, it feels like the movie comes back to him again, like in his own style.
Yes, right there.
哪个小的故事是你最喜欢的？ Which second movie is your favorite? The first question. And second question is, 从凯里，然后现在到了重庆了，就是会不会再去山西啊？因为在一个上头的地方，我甚至从你的口音里面听出来一点太原的味道。
No.
So the second question is, you traveled from Cali to now this film is in Chongqing. So are you going to Shanxi, which is the place you had your university already? So that's my question. 这是我两个问题。
每次我们拍到哪个故事都是最喜欢哪个故事，然后到了后期我剪辑哪个故事的时候就最喜欢哪个故事。我最后剪的是秋那个故事，所以目前为止那个故事我自己的印象会更深一些。对，第2个。
Yeah, so he said whatever film that I was working on was my favorite, so I always change. But the last story I was editing was the second segment, so that so far is my favorite.
但这好像是一个甜蜜的烦恼，因为我明天会喜欢另外一个。
But then I may change my answer tomorrow.
去山西拍戏，首先我是一个特别不喜欢旅游的人。
Yes, so making film in another part of China. First of all, I don't really like traveling.
然后我的第1个作业其实就在太原拍的。
My first film assignment was filmed in Taiyuan
因为我母校在那边，
because I went to school there.
所以我觉得有机会也会去那边拍。好像我现在不太在意在哪个地方，反而是还是不是当时拍电影的这些人。
Also, he doesn't really care about where the film takes place anymore. It's more about the people he works with. He wants to stay with them.
因为大家从《地球最后的夜晚》到狂野，已经养成了很好的对艺术的认知。
So, because all the team members have been working together for a long time since the longest journey to the night to this movie, so everybody is kind of on the same page regarding the artistic.
所以在哪儿不太重要，反正都会是这个样子。
Yeah, so whenever I go
You
to
go
make
for the
film,
next one.
Aggressive.
All the way in the back right there.
I have a question about the vampire chapter. At some point, the camera becomes a character, and then shifts back to being a camera. And I'm curious what went into that decision. I feel like I've never really seen that before. It was very jarring, and I'm curious if we speak a little bit more about the oneer all of a sudden becoming a person in the story.
因为这样才能拍下去。
that's the only way you can make the film work.
当然，我们对最后的这个结果产生在艺术上面的一种感受是非常满意，但是确实我们在做它的时候，一门心思就在想怎么样才能拍下去，才能持续不断拍下去。
Yeah, so I'm very happy with what it actually shows you right now, like what feeling it brings to you. But when I was making it, the only thing I was worried about is how to make the film keep going, how to finish it.
然后，事实上，当我们决定用改变视角的方式来处理这个镜头的时候，我们就已经胸有成竹了，因为它只有这样的方式才能把这一个夜晚压缩在里面。
So yeah, that's when we decide to change the perspective in the shots. We kind of already know that would work because that's the only way to compress the entire language into one shot.
但其实那个现场一团糟，
But it was a mess on the set.
因为很多人，
Because there was a lot of people involved.
特别是大家看到那个快速播放延时摄影那一段，实际上那一段其他工作人员可以休息，但是导演组还得在那调度群演。
Yeah, especially the time lapse thing. There was a lot of people working on that, a lot of extras, and then we just have to stay there to direct all of the extras, how they're gonna do and all that. Yeah.
然后我记得那天制片组不断的给我打电话，因为我们的场景太大了，他只能通过打电话来沟通，对讲机都联络不了。
And the site was so big that I had to talk with my producers through a cell phone because the walkie-talkie won't reach anymore.
他说那个今天那个船不能出港，不能出码头。
Oh, because they were saying that the boat couldn't leave the dock that day.
然后我就关机了。
And then I turned off my phone.
然后船就出去了。
And then the boat actually left. So.
当然我会派一个副导演在那看到底是不是正确的问题。
Oh, but I did have a AD there to make sure everything was safe, and then you know.
然后我的副导演很厉害，他跟那个船的那个老板混得很好，所以船老板偷偷告诉他绝对可以。
So my AD was like a very awesome person, and he got really good. He became a good friend with the captain of the boat, and then he told him secretly that he will make it work.
Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations.
All right, time now is 2:50 a.m. It's super duper late. I'm tired and I'm gonna go to bed soon. Today has been fun. I woke up and I think I had time to film an anime review. Didn't really have time for lunch, but that was okay. And then I went out for the midterms for my motion picture script analysis class, which is easy AF. It's super duper easy. There's a free 10 points at the end of the exam, because it's like completely multiple choice. It's 46 multiple choice questions. Yeah, 46. It's 20 questions about like storytelling in general, 25 questions that are specific to the films we watched, and then one more question, which is basically which film made you understand storytelling the most, and it's like a freebie. And I finished the exam in like half an hour, and I think by the 20-ish minute mark, 25-minute mark, people were already like submitting their exam, you know, bringing it out to the front and then leaving the Norris Theater. So yeah, we took the exam at Norris Theater, and it was just a piece of paper or like a stack of paper, and you just circle the answer with a pen. So thank God I didn't bring my laptop out. I walked to school. But yeah, it's my first time speaking to the professor. I asked the professor if we had to write anything at the end, and he's like, no, have a good week. And I'm like, okay, you too. And that's it. So at 1:30-ish, I was basically gone. I left the class, and I went to SCA 3rd floor to chill a little bit, and then I headed over to Mikhail Ash's garage and helped do some set dressing. Yeah, and then Kira also showed up for a little bit. But yeah, I think the last weekend was so freaking intense and so much that now, even though we still have a lot to build, but Jordan's just she's burnt out. She's tired, and she's just like, I don't know what the fuck to do now. But we're making crew quarters. We need to staple quilts onto the flats, and then she's like, but we don't have a staple gun, so I guess we'll have to drill it. So we tried to drill it. She tried to drill it, and it obviously didn't work because the fabric, the blanket kind of twirled with the screw and just fucks up every single time. And then I sort of threw a lot of e-waste. There's a mountain of dusty, gross e-waste that I had to sort through. So yeah. A little while later, 4 p.m.-ish, I walked back home. I made myself lunch because I was really hungry. And then I left again, and at 5:45 p.m. or 5:40 p.m. ish, Jacob drove a car. I've never seen him do that. Jacob drove to outside my place and picked me up. And me, Justin T, some random Chinese dude, Jacob, and Jacob's girlfriend, we drove all the way to Aero Theater. So yeah, kind of crazy because my original idea was I'm heading out at 4:45 and having a whole food sandwich there, but that did not happen at the end. Um, we arrived and we already saw a short line of people lining up outside the theater, and by the time we arrived, it was like I think 6 p.m. ish, or no, actually 6:15. Yeah, 6:15, and there was already a short line outside of the theater. There's also the members line. But yeah, we immediately lined up and we ended up not buying anything to eat. So thank God I made myself lunch. And instead, when we got into theater, the theater was like half packed already. And it's so crazy because at that point, Yu Chen, the other Chinese guy, hasn't even arrived. So I was like, wow, he's cooked. I was on the line queuing up when he got out of USC, the campus. So yeah. Anyways, we found some good seats, 3 rows from the front, and we sat there. And I was feeling really excited to rewatch Resurrection. I was really pumped. I could actually feel my heart racing when the film began. That's crazy. But yeah, I sort of yeah, I I went to what was I thinking? Right. Yuchen eventually showed up. Tool was sitting beside me, and then some other guy was like, no, I actually had that seat before. So Tool was forced to sit somewhere else, which is crazy. Anyways, we watched the film. It was great. I had a good time. It didn't blow me away or anything. It's actually more surprisingly, I have the same feeling as I had after the Cannes premiere. But instead of absolute confusion, it's just, oh, it is what it is. But after the Cannes premiere, it was like no one knows what happened. Yeah, so that was great. And then we had the Q&A with Begon. 3 people asked questions, which is not a lot. I kind of wanted to, but at the end I didn't. And then Begon immediately left the theater and just drove away. And so that was unfortunate because I really wanted to meet him. But yeah. Eventually I saw a bunch of random people that, I saw Rocky Huang from Forgone, the Cantonese speaking Chinese guy. I was like, Rocky, and he's like, hi. And I was like, wow, he definitely forgot about me. Which makes sense. It's been like a whole year since I've spoken to him. But I keep seeing him randomly. Yeah, and he's here with his girlfriend, Miley, and then also Surui, who's the DP from Perfect Us. And then I saw Edith, this Chinese girl who is also in CAMS, and I spoke to her once a while back. And then I saw, after the screening, I saw Olivia, and I was kind of surprised that Olivia was there. And she spoke to me half Mandarin, half English. She was like, how's your Fujian? And I'm like, yeah, which is like long time no see. And I told her I watched, this is my second time watching it. And she was like, wait, you're in Cannes? She asked me that in Mandarin, and I'm like, yeah. And she's like, you saw all the films? I don't know why, but I'm really accustomed to like hearing people speak to me in Mandarin and then responding back in English without any thought. Because during the Begon Q&A, I actually understood like 95%, maybe even 97% of everything Begon said in Mandarin. I'm like not bad at listening to Mandarin. I understand what's going on. It's just responding back in Mandarin is tough for me. Yeah, and then we got home. So I think unfortunately the car that Jacob was driving is a 5-person car, and Toll cannot be in that car because Jacob's girlfriend, Justin T, random Chinese guy, and me are in that car. But I would feel bad if I had to leave Toll to just Uber home by himself. So after a little discussion, that random Chinese guy just left and took a Waymo, and so Toll sort of joined us, and then we all went back. And then Toll got off at my stop. We talked a little bit outside of the apartment, and then I thought it was kind of weird. It's cold, it's dark, so I invited Toll into this apartment. And so that happened. It was really random. So he sat downstairs, and I was like excited to show him my criterions. I was just gonna bring the criterions down because I really don't want him to see my bedroom because it's a mess. But he's like, no, I like walking, let me see. So he just went upstairs and came and looked, and I'm like, fine. It's a mess, but I can deal with it. So I opened the door, and I told him to just stay outside of the door, but he eventually took off his shoes and went in, and he was really comfortable with things. Like, he put a can of Red Bull on my table, and then he like stepped on my slippers, which is a big no-no, and then he tried to grab my criterions, and I was just wondering, wow, he seems really comfortable. But yeah, eventually I was like, let's go down, I'm super hungry. So I really wanted to pee, I really wanted to cook dinner because I was dying of hunger. So I just started cooking in front of him. I started making spaghetti and steak and green beans, and we talked about his script a little bit. He sat down on another chair, and then he eventually left, and I finished my dinner. But yeah, that was a while. And yeah, it's already fucking 3 a.m. right now. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I haven't really spoken to Jaehyun in quite a few days, and once again, just like last semester, Jaehyun just kind of disappeared. I don't know. I feel like I'm just not that important to her. And that really sucks. Because for a while she was really important to me. I remember back in late summer, late summer, yeah. I was like, wow, Jaehyun's probably like top 5 closest person, given how much I talked to her, given how much I revealed to her. And then now she's distant and she's gone again, and I don't want to think it's my fault for this. I think it's also her thing. She just floats away, and I want to tell her that, I want to tell her that I want to speak more to her. Even though I know it's like, eventually at some point after this weekend, I'm gonna have to like break off from her. Not a break up, but a break off, just, we can't be friends, that's so crazy. But yeah, I have so much to do. I have papers, I have scripts to write, I have a paper due today technically, so that's crazy. Yeah, so I'm gonna just focus on that, and I'm probably gonna go to Trader Joe's tomorrow too. Don't really know, but we'll figure it out. And then Saturday and Sunday will be my last 2 days on set with Jaehyun, and then that's it. And then she disappears. Yeah, just like last semester, she's just gonna disappear for a month or so until one day she randomly DMs me as if nothing happened. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Alright, time now is 10:02 a.m. in the morning on October 3rd. I slept from 4:40-ish to 9:50, and then I went back to bed for 10 more minutes, so, another day of super late sleep. What the fuck is wrong with me? Yeah, it just took me a long time last night to edit stuff. Ugh, what's wrong with me? Okay. Yeah, I don't know why, and I feel like I woke up like 5 times before the alarm rang, and every time I'm like, oh my god, I need to go to school. I need to wake up. And then I ended up not. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So today there's art class, and then I'm helping with the PD for Starman, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. I don't know. Workload is piling up. I have like a paper due and another paper outline due, but I'm not particularly worried for some reason. I think they're all gonna be pretty easy, so yeah. Yeah. I haven't written anything at all. Last night I did come up with an outline for the essays, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And then yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Not much else to think about or talk about. Again, Jiren is. I don't really think that much about her anymore. But I still feel like I kind of like her. I still think she's one of the more interesting people that I've met here. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm so tired. And can't wait for Monday again, because next Monday I'll be able to wake up a little late. Just a wee bit. So yeah, can't wait for that Monday.
What's crazy is the bigger circle, it doesn't look that much bigger. No, but I like it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to be quick. Time now is 12:56 after midnight. I'm gonna try to go to bed at like 3. So I basically have like 2 hours, which is not bad actually. Yeah, so today has been quite a long day. I woke up and I kid you not, I spent a whole hour in bed. I spent an entire hour on my bed. I went back to sleep for 10 more minutes and I still don't want to wake up. I wanted to film like a Resurrection movie review, but I ended up not doing it because I'm not in the mood to do it. And I feel like it's gonna be a long review and I don't have that much time. So yeah, I ended up walking to school because I missed the bus, and the backpack was heavy. I had my laptop with me, my big sketchbook, and I set off. And I went to my art class, and I saw Sydney on a scooter. I was gonna say hi, but she just zoomed away. So she's probably on the way to set to help build. And so art class today was just drawing, and we had to pick a reference photo, and we just draw based on the reference photo, just perspective, lines, and shapes. And I literally picked the reference photo while walking on the way to class. And aside from that, today there's also an essay outline and another essay due, which is really crazy. And the fact that I'm doing all of this shit today is really crazy. But anyways, our class was fine. I took a break. It was really chill. The whole class was just drawing. I took a break, and I don't even know how much time passed during the break. I just wanted to get out for a little bit, and then a while later I went back, and that's it. So that was pretty cool. And then after the class, I headed over to stage 3, and I was just there for the rest of the day. So at 2:45 p.m. ish, all the way till nearly 9 p.m. I'd say 8:30. I was just on stage 3 helping building, and goddamn, today was chill. Today was so chill. Um, and I think it's partially because we're all just very exhausted from last weekend, and we're all just like, yeah, let's just keep it slow. But also the set this time is simpler, and also because we're more accustomed to building the set. And so not only was it chill, but also this is easily the best looking set piece we've had for Starman so far. We have multiple flats, the quilts are up, and you know, people are stapling sleeping bags. And then on the side, we also built airlock door and 2 walls at the side, and we did some simple dressing, and it was really chill. For the most part, I was just standing around. Again, I saw Ethan go, I saw other people, and there's this girl, and when I saw her, I'm like, oh, random Asian girl, and she doesn't give off like Asian American. She gives like Asian, and like East Asian. And then when I heard her accent, I feel like she's from Hong Kong. But throughout the entire day, I never asked, and I just speak to her in English, which is very awkward. But tomorrow, I'm gonna ask her if she's from Hong Kong, because that's really crazy. And she's in film production. She's like a sophomore, so she's in 294 right now. And yeah, that's really, really crazy and interesting. But yeah, I just socialized with people really well today. I don't know why. I was just in this laughy, kind of goofy mood, and I just joked around and talked to people a lot. Talked to Seda a little bit more. She asked me the color of my badge in Cannes. I talked to people about movies and music, and yeah. We had lunch, and then we had an actual lunch, and apparently Makaya made some Mexican food. Uh, they're like corn tortillas, which I doubt she made, but like there's like rice and beans and salsa, and you know, there's some chicken, there's ground beef, and there's mushrooms, and I had like 2 tacos, and it was nice. You can tell that's not like authentic Mexican food, but it's still crazy that she made some Mexican food for us. And I ate it up, and it was fine, it was nice. And then I met another girl, I thought she's white, turns out she's Persian, American, had no fucking idea. The thing is, like, white is not even like a racist social construct. Like, where do you stop being white and start being not white? You know, for a long time, Italians are not white, and then you get to like Greeks and Turks, and you don't even know whether to define them as white or not, because in a lot of cases, Greeks are actually even more have a darker skin complexion than Turks. And then you have like Armenians, like Seda. Is Seda white? She's Armenian. Armenian is in the Caucasus Mountains. She's Caucasian by definition. You know? But then you also get the feeling maybe she's not white. And then of course you get to Georgia and Azerbaijan, and then down there you have Syria. People start calling Syrian Arabs, but Syrians are just white. And then now I'm confusing a Persian person for being white. And like at the end it's very difficult to tell, you know. So yeah, anyways, I digress. I forgot her name. I forgot the Persian American girl's name, but that was hilarious. She's close with Seda. I'm glad I'm meeting so many 450 people. I think it's really good that I'm advertising myself. So eventually Jaeyoung talked to me, because Jaeyoung was talking to Seda, and Seda, so everyone received an email about like the the deadlines for next semester is 480, which is crazy. So the deadline is October 24th, Mary's birthday. And yeah, kind of scary because now I have 20 days left to figure out what I want to do with my scripts, etc. And so I'm gonna try to write them tomorrow for real. And I'm gonna definitely ask for the screenwriting professor's help. But yeah. So Seda wanted to apply for directing, which is great. And then Jaeyoung's like, so what's your style? So apparently directors all have to submit a 2-minute iPhone film. And the prompt is what makes life wonderful. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. You know, if in a parallel universe, I would be a film production major. And I would be either applying in 480 this year or 480 next semester. And if my prompt is what makes life wonderful, I'm gonna vomit because that forces you into making a positive feel-good film, right? Or then I would try to subvert it and make what makes life so shitty because I'm better at making evil, cynical shit, you know? So when I saw the prompt, I'm like, Jesus Christ, thank God I'm not planning to apply to director because I'm not in this major. Thank God I don't have to force myself through that shit. But yeah, so instead I have writing. And yeah, Jaeyoung talked to me a little bit. I just told Jaeyoung I want to write scripts for 480. For a while I wanted to keep it a secret, but I realized that I shouldn't because you need to advertise yourself, especially to 450 students because they'll be the ones who vote for the script if it's shortlisted. And it's important to just generate a lot of noise so that people talk about it, the professors kind of know that you're submitting a script, and other students know. Like, if you generate a lot of noise, it's better, and that's crazy. But yeah, Jaeyoung's like, oh, so what kind of story do you want to write? And I was like, well, you know, if I write what I normally like to write, USC's definitely not making my film. And Jaeyoung's like, oh, so you make fucked up shit. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm going to submit 2 scripts. One is serious and the other is fucked up. So Jaeyoung showed up, and she's gorgeous today. She's in like beautiful makeup. She's in this dress. Like, she just came out of some wedding or like this. I'm just like, okay. And she showed up very briefly, and then she was gone. But while she showed up, she helped out with PD a little bit, and we worked together. The Persian American girl tried to use a drill, and she just couldn't do it. And she's like, can you do it? And I'm like, sure. I'm glad I'm the experienced one now. So I used the drill, and I did it. I put the screw through the drill, through a clamp, and, you know, I know how to do it. You know, I'm the senpai now. And, you know, it's good that I'm able to, like, do things in front of Jaeyoung. And we also talked a little bit. I told Jaeyoung, just without a lot of thought, I told her, can I talk to you a little bit about, like, script writing? Like, I just need advice because I'm submitting for 480. And Jaeyoung didn't really care. Jaeyoung didn't ask me, oh, what kind of story, blah, blah, blah. She's just like, yeah, just write whatever you like. Just write something that you care about. And I'm like, everyone says that, and I'm already writing about something I care about. Like, I don't need this advice. And she's like, okay, that's great. And then she asked me, is this the reason why you wanted to talk to me after Starman? And I'm like, partially. So I guess for one, I like that she remembers that I want to speak to her after Starman. For two, she's a little suspicious that I'm up to something, that I need to tell her something after Starman. But yeah, aside from that, I think I think unintentionally I charmed Jaeyoung a little bit, or at least, like, I was kind of playful in front of her. I made a bunch of jokes, like, there were family photos and Jaeyoung's trying to find me, and it's obvious that the only photo with an Asian person is me. So I was like, oh, am I the white person or am I the black person? And then we were trying to stick handles onto the door, and I told Jaeyoung I can handle this. Which is so stupid. Yeah, at some point, Jaeyoung was like drilling. asking me to drill some screws onto a clamping some cables together at the bottom side of the door, and I thought that was kind of unnecessary. But she's squatting down, I'm squatting down, and we're both very tight in that corner. And then I'm like, ugh. And then I think Giant leaned her head against me, which is again so like, ooh, so intimate for me. But apparently for her, it's just like all human beings do that. Yeah. And then that's mostly it. What else with Jayun? I told her, like, I noticed her nails, and I was like, wow, yeah, I noticed your nails. There's some weird scratching sounds. Okay. But yeah, at the end, I suddenly, at 7:30, I suddenly remembered I have an essay outline due at 9. So I took out my laptop, which was at like 20% battery. And before it dropped down to 5%, and within half an hour, I typed out the essay. And then there's a data lynch essay, which I didn't do until 11 p.m. and I submitted late. I submitted at 12:30. But I wrote 6 pages of words in 1.5 hours. I am so good at this shit. Not gonna lie. And I also left the set a little early. So at 2:30 I just left because I went to Trader Joe's and I bought a bunch of stuff. I accidentally broke a pack of eggs, but that's it. My fridge is now completely packed with food. And then finally I cooked dinner for myself, and Mary, the roommate, used my pan. She did ask for my permission, but she was so careless. She just poured ground beef all over it and in super high heat, and then she washed my pan, which is great, but she scratched it all up and stuff. Whatever. But yeah, that's basically it. Excited for the last weekend of Starman, and then the subsequent next few days is just gonna be, next few weekends will also be sets, but yeah, just yeah.